With every new update from the Digital Circus Awards, I'm getting more and more sure that all those weird moments from Caine ain't just random. The creators are totally trying to hint at something big tied to episode 6. And man, this last update seriously messed me up, like it actually got me all nervous. Right now, Pomni's still holding that top spot, while my prediction that Ragatha's gonna, let's say, crash back down to the bottom turned out dead on. On top of that, yesterday they dropped this image that seemed pretty whatever at first, just Caine looking all sad because he's in dead last on the ranking. But like I said, I'm more than sure that ain't just some random thing. This whole award thing was clearly set up from the jump with Caine ending up in last place, and let's be real, if you were the ones making the show that'd be the obvious move. But what if that was the whole point? Like maybe it was all planned to hint that episode 6 is gonna put a major spotlight on Caine. I mean, even in that sneak peek he was front and center, while Zooble and Jax were more like side characters in his story. If that's the case, then this image totally works as a full-on teaser for the new episode, and that's when things get way more interesting. Because it finally clicks that Caine's really going to be one of the key characters in episode 6, right up there with Jax, Ragatha, and Pomni. And if we're going all in on this theory, then it makes sense that something's going to happen that hits Caine so hard it straight up breaks him. Like, actually brings him to tears for the first time ever. We've seen him upset, pissed off, glitching out, but we've never seen him this crushed. Remember how I said that maybe the private room wasn't made to bring the Digital Circus crew closer together, but more so for Caine to get a better idea of what his, let's say, underlings really think about his adventures? And for some reason, I'm pretty sure Zooble could easily bring that up in a super negative way. And that's what might trigger such a wild reaction from our toothy admin. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that ends up kicking off the whole insane ride that starts in episode 6 and goes all the way to the end of season 1. And I don't know why, but I got a feeling it's going to be absolutely mind-blowing. But besides all that, a bunch of fans noticed this kind of weird message on the Wacky Watch website in the Quick Fact section, and today it popped up on Kinger's page, while yesterday Pomni was the one who, let's say, dropped the hint. On the surface, it looks like just a random jumble of letters, but if we decode it, it says, "Caine is a madman, help us save us." And that's where things get way more interesting. This message is straight up shouting at us that the Digital Circus ain't as perfect as they want to make it look, and that sweet, friendly admin's actually hiding something terrible. Maybe his main goal ain't to entertain the folks, but something way darker. If you remember that scene with Kaufmo from the pilot episode, you'll notice they were already hinting back then that Caine's the real evil here, and maybe he's the reason Kaufmo got turned into that abstracted monster. Because if you think back to what Ragatha said about the clown, it's clear he used to be a pretty fun guy, but apparently he pissed off or bored Caine, which led to him getting abstracted. They might explain this part more in the new episode, and it's probably going to be one of the sparks that set off all the chaos. As you can tell, episode 6 is going to be a real game changer for the Digital Circus universe and drop a ton of answers to all those big questions. Only after that will we dive into the real story of the show, because everything we've seen so far mostly focused on the characters themselves, letting us get to know them better. But I think it's finally time they start revealing the main plot of our favorite show. We figured out Caine's going to play a big role in the new episode, but besides him, there are a few other characters who are crazy important to us too. So let's talk about how they might shake up the future of the Digital Circus. Pomni's been in this kind of shock for a while now after everything that's been going down in the Digital Circus, and that really hit hard back in episode 3. But literally in the next episode, we saw a whole different Pomni. Happy, cheerful, and honestly already chill with everything going on here. And the peak of that mental glow-up was episode 5, where she finally just felt like herself.
Think we all look weird.
Excuse you, this is what peak male performance looks like. My ears and tail are kind of the pinnacle of masculinity.
You don't have a tail.
And that's when it really hits us that Pomni's finally happy, and that vibe's definitely going to carry on into episode 6. But what matters most is that now she finally got a real friend, or at least that's how she sees it, and that final scene just proves it. Like, look how she reacted when Jax showed up, and if you compare that to how she used to act, it's clear she's doing way better. And with the new episode set to dive deep into Jax's past and who he really is, and Pomni now basically being his bestie, it totally makes sense why fans of the Digital Circus are super hyped about what's going on with her and everything around her lately. I feel like Pomni's gonna spend like half the episode slowly digging into what was really going on in the Digital Circus before she showed up. And of course she's gonna be super curious about what actually happened to Ribbit, because even back in episode 5, that was one of the biggest mysteries for her.
So, you wanna talk about that?
I'm in a maid outfit, what do you think?
What was that about?
It's nothing. Who cares?
I'm pretty sure Jax is going to tell Pomni all about it, and honestly, like 95% of the time we're going to see her actually happy, because don't forget, starting from episode 6, things in the Digital Circus are going to go completely off the rails, and yeah, it's definitely going to affect Pomni too. And overall, nothing super crazy or dramatic is going to happen to her. And even though this whole new adventure was most likely kind of set up by Jax, since they're tight now, she's probably going to be the least affected by all the madness. Can't really say the same about Ragatha though, because she's slowly starting to show that she's not as sweet and positive as she's been pretending to be through those first 4 episodes.
Pomni! Are you okay? Well, what happened?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, let's forget about all that. Caine's got a new adventure today, and judging by what he's been teasing, it seems like it's gonna be a fun one.
But even back then, we were already getting little hints that something was off with Ragatha, and it was pretty clear that besides having some serious mental stuff going on, she's also like crazy obsessed with getting attention from other characters.
I wish someone would flirt with me.
And with what we learned in episode 5, it's pretty clear Ragatha's mental state is only going to get worse in episode 6. And this is basically the beginning of her downfall in the final scene of episode 5. You can totally see how upset she is over the fact that after all this time, she still couldn't really connect with anyone or become a real friend to somebody. And later it hits us that Pomni was like her last shot, and since that shot got straight up stolen by the purple rabbit, we're gonna see her hit rock bottom with all that depression and loneliness in episode 6. And the creators actually hinted at this in the teaser. I feel like that teaser is gonna be the opening of episode 6. And it perfectly sets up all the pain Ragatha's about to go through. We're also going to find out a bunch of her so-called secrets, including whatever connection she's got with Jax. Because if you think back to her monologue...
I was born into a fairly wealthy family. We had a large property with horses and chickens, and my mother, well...
And that one scene was honestly pretty damn intriguing.
What is this? Why'd you do that? Can you get that thing away from me?
Are you afraid of corn?
No. Who's afraid of corn?
So it's pretty obvious those two were somehow connected to some kind of farm that ended up being the reason Jax has got that whole corn phobia going on. And if you remember the teaser they dropped for episode 5, corn was in there too, and I'm like 100% sure that ain't just some random thing. I'm not saying they were a couple or maybe family in the real world, but there's definitely something between them. And since Ragatha came from a pretty wealthy background, it's totally possible Jax worked for her family and maybe his main job was harvesting corn, but why that turned into such a major fear for him is still a huge mystery. What's actually super interesting is that starting from episode 4, Zubal's been way more active in all the adventures and convos, and if you think back to that therapy session with Caine in episode 3,
We weren't even talking about that! I really couldn't give less of a crap about the adventures.
Then what is your problem, Zubal? I'm trying my best to remember, but both you and my brain won't tell me!
It's me.
then look at how she acts during the more normal adventures. Now it's pretty clear she's opened up a lot more to everyone else. We also know Zubal as a pretty stable character, and if we go back to that leak, saying things are going to go wild in the digital circus starting from episode 6, then Zubal's going to play a big role in all that, because she's basically going to be looking out not just for herself, but for Gangle and Kinger too.